Tate Collins is 23driven.com. Focused. She's not here for distractions, not here for games. She's a nursing student starting her master's program in San Francisco. She's leaving behind an ex, a whole life in San Diego, and a list of reasons not to trust men. Now she's moving in with her older brother, temporarily, just until she finds her footing. Tate is a realist. Her goals are clear: school, career, stability. What she doesn't expect is to fall headfirst into a story that defies logic, rules, or reason. Miles Archer is 25, a commercial pilot, quiet, unreadable, impossibly attractive, and completely closed off. On the outside, he has everything: a good job, a calm demeanor, a face people don't forget. But behind his silence is a weight he never talks about. Miles doesn't do relationships, doesn't fall in love, doesn't even try. What happened to him 6 years ago still holds him hostage. And when he meets Tate, he doesn't let her in, but he doesn't stay away either. Colleen Collins is Tate's older brother, protective, loyal, a fellow pilot, and not just any pilot, but Miles's best friend. He's given Tate a place to stay, but there's one unspoken rule: no messing around with his co-workers, especially not Miles. But life doesn't care about the rules. Cap is the building's elevator operator, elderly, hilarious, full of stories and old man wisdom. He doesn't say much, but when he does, it sticks. He watches everything and understands more than people think. He's the first person Tate meets in San Francisco, and he just might be the one who sees what's coming before anyone else does. Tate pulls up to the curb of her brother's apartment building, a high-rise in the heart of San Francisco. It's grand. Too grand. She expected a modest, cramped space, not a towering building with marble floors and velvet chairs. She's tired, mentally, physically, emotionally. She's been driving all day, 500 miles from San Diego to here, leaving behind the last pieces of her old life. She has no idea what's waiting. Upstairs. The elevator button lights up as she presses it. Next to her, an old man turns and smiles. He's thin, a little hunched, with shaky hands and a mischievous glint in his eye. Benny says it. Somebody stabbed you in the neck, young lady. Tate freezes. He's pointing at the small birthmark just below her ear. He laughs and explains, it's just a joke. His grandfather used to say birthmarks were signs of how people died in a past life. Tate can't decide if she should be concerned or amused. She lands somewhere in the middle. The elevator is slow, the slowest she's ever been on, so he keeps talking. He introduces himself as Cap, elevator operator and self-appointed flight captain of the building. Says he's been sending people up for 15 years. Says God gave him too many things to do in life to let him die anytime soon. Tate smiles. She hasn't even stepped into the building, and already someone knows her name. As the elevator finally opens, she salutes him with a grin. You got any birthmarks, Cap? He nods proudly. Seems in my past life, I was shot right in the ass. She laughs, then steps into the elevator, and into the rest of her life. As the doors begin to close, someone slips in at the last second. He's tall, confident, too confident, and the first thing Tate notices, the wedding ring on his left hand, and the way his eyes immediately fall to her chest. Moving in, he asks, smirking. She nods, arms crossed. What floor? She doesn't answer. Instead, she covers the elevator panel with her hand and presses every single button between 10 and 18. Let him guess. Let him sweat. Let him stay far, far away. He leans in again, eyes still wandering. Catch you later, Tate. The doors close. She stiffens. How does he know her name? Floor 18. She walks down the hallway. Her suitcase drags behind her. She stops at apartment 1816 and sees a man collapsed on the floor, slumped against the door. He's unconscious, chin tucked to his chest, legs out, arms limp. Tate groans. Please don't let it be this apartment. She checks her phone. It is. She nudges him gently with her foot. Excuse me. Nothing. She calls Corbin. There's a drunk guy passed out at your door. Corbin is completely unfazed. Is he in a pilot uniform? No. Corbin tells her to go get Cap. She refuses. She's too tired, too frustrated. She decides to just get inside. She slides the key into the lock, turns the knob, and the man starts to fall backward into the apartment. Tate quickly presses her foot against his shoulder to hold him upright. Corbin, I'm gonna hang up and move this guy. No, don't hang up. Put the phone in your pocket. No pockets, she says flatly. You're going in the bra. Corbin groans in disgust. She manages to pry the door open just enough to squeeze in. Then it happens. His hand wraps around her ankle. Tate screams and kicks. The man mumbles something, trying to get inside. She slams the door right on his wrist. He yells. She yells louder. She finally gets the door shut and locks every lock she can find. Her heart is pounding, her breathing heavy. Then she remembers her phone is still in her bra. "I'm fine," she tells Corbin. "I'm inside." Jesus, Tate. She laughs, half exhausted, half horrified. "What did you leave outside?" "My suitcase, my purse, and the key." "Christ. Tate, can't help you now." "Corbin, the drunk guy thinks he lives here." Corbin sighs. "Hang on, I'll call Miles." Tate pauses. "Who's Miles?" Long silence. "The drunk guy." Tate closes her eyes. "You asked the drunk guy to protect me from the drunk guy. Just open the door. Let him crash on the couch." She opens it again. The guy falls flat onto the floor. She drags him inside, sets a pillow under his head, rolls him onto his side. He mutters something. "You're not Corbin?" "Nope, I'm your new neighbor. And from the looks of it, you owe me 50 cups of sugar." He doesn't respond. He's passed out. Tate gets up, changes into sweatpants, starts to settle in, and then she sees him again. He's no longer asleep. He's sitting on a bar stool in the kitchen, head down, arms folded. She calls his name gently. "Miles." "Number." Response, she touches his shoulder, and suddenly he gasps. Bolts upright, sways. She catches him just before he stumbles. "Let's go to the couch." "Buddy?" "My name isn't Buddy," he mumbles. "It's Miles." They reach the couch. She tries to peel him off her, but he clutches her wrist. "Rachel, don't." Tate's heart stops. "My name's not Rachel," she says softly, but he's not listening. He's crying now, hard silent tears, shoulders shaking, breath catching, not from the alcohol, from something far worse. He clutches the couch, knuckles white, face twisted in silent grief. Tate kneels beside him, helpless. "I'm so sorry, Rachel," he whispers. "I'm so sorry." He pulls her closer, burying his face in her shoulder. She doesn't stop him. She doesn't understand him. But for some reason, she stays, and she sees something. A scar, thin, 4 inches long, running along the side of his jaw, up toward his lips. He's asleep now, breathing uneven, still broken, still beautiful, still holding on to something he can't let go. And Tate, she has no idea that this is only the beginning. Flashback 6 years. EARLIR. Armiels Archer is 17. Strata student, quiet, controlled. He lives with his dad, walks a straight line, and doesn't get into trouble. The school secretary asks him to do a favor, escort a new girl to class. No big deal. He's just killing time. Until the door opens, and she walks in. Rachel, red hair, green eyes, and a smile that makes the whole world tilt. Miles forgets how to breathe. "You're gonna fall in love with me, Rachel." He doesn't say it out loud, but in his head. He says it over and over. They walk to class together. She's from Phoenix, recently moved here with her mom. She talks, he listens, he doesn't want to let her go. When they reach the classroom, she looks at him and smiles, and her smile tells him everything that she already knows. This is going to be something. A few days pass. They don't talk again, not because they don't want to, but because Miles doesn't know how. He keeps chickening out. Then Friday comes. He waits at her locker. "Hi." She blushes, smiles. He asks her out. She's busy that night, but not tomorrow. He asks for her number. She gives it to him, and just like that, she's in his phone. "She's gonna have all my babies." He texts Ian with a picture of her. He's joking, sort of, but mostly. He's already gone. Present the day, FDR. Tate wakes up to find Miles in her doorway, sober, brooding, arms folded. He's staring at her, like she's done something wrong. "What happened to my hand, Tate?" He doesn't remember. The wrist she slammed in the door. He has no clue why it hurts. Tate pulls the covers over her head. "Lock the door on your way out." He DOESN single quotes T. He opens it wider. "Did we hook up last night?" Tate glares at him. "No. You cried. You called me Rachel." His eyes flicker barely, but he doesn't say a word. She turns away. "Come back later," she says. "We'll try this again, on the right foot." He doesn't answer, but he doesn't argue. Corbin comes home. He's cheerful, clueless, hugs Tate like it's been years. "You look tired." "Gee, thanks." Miles walks in. Casual like he didn't cry into Tate's shoulder the night before. He nods at Corbin. "You have my spare key?" Corbin tosses it to him. "Come back in an hour and help me unload Tate's stuff." Miles agrees. Doesn't look at Tate. Not at first. But as he turns to leave, their eyes meet. And Tate knows. He remembers more than he's saying. Flashback. First date. Saturday night. Miles picks Rachel up. She's nervous. He's trying not to be. They talk, laugh, play questions in the car. She tells him about her mom. We moved to California so she could be with her boyfriend. Miles pauses. Mine too. That's how they find out. Miles's dad is dating Rachel's mom. Neither of them knew, and suddenly, everything changes. Rachel and her mom are at the house. Miles is quiet, suspicious. After dinner, he pulls Rachel aside. When did they start dating? A few months ago, they realize. Their parents are serious. This won't be a phase. This won't go away. They're going to be step-siblings. But what they already are can't be undone. Rachel leans in. They kiss. And just like that, the line between wrong and right disappears. Present Thursday, Tate walks into her brother's apartment, expecting peace. Instead, she finds 3 guys watching football. On the couch, Corbin's out of town. But Miles, he's here, sitting on the floor like he owns the place. With him, Ian, and the married guy from the elevator. Dylan. Tate folds her arms. Why are you in my apartment? Miles shrugs. Game night. She's not amused. Can't you do this at your place? I don't have cable, and Dylan's wife won't let us use his. Tate sighs and walks away, slamming her door. Moments later, there's a knock. It's Miles. He's calm, collected, a little too comfortable. If you need quiet, you can use my place. Tate hesitates, then nods. Thanks. Before he leaves, he sees her making a sandwich, and then another one. Who's that for? Cap? You made a sandwich. For Cap. She shrugs. Food makes him happy. Miles stares at her for a long moment. Then, without warning, he steps forward and slides a key into her front pocket. My apartment, he says quietly, then walks away. Tate stands frozen. She hates the way her heart races, hates the fire that lights up under her skin when he's close, but most of all, she hates that she doesn't hate it. Tate is still trying to forget the key he slid into her pocket. She knows this isn't casual, not for her at least. Every time Miles is near, something inside her shifts, but she keeps her distance. Until he shows up again. Late at night. He's calm, steady, not drunk this time, just quiet. I'm attracted to you, he says. And I think you're attracted to me. She says nothing. Because he's right. I don't want a relationship, he continues. But I don't want to ignore this either. He looks at her with that unreadable stare. Do you want to have sex? No lead-in, no game. Just the truth. Tate's brain screams no, but her body remembers his hands, his voice, the way he made her feel without even trying. So instead she asks, what are the rules? And he gives her 3. Rule 1. Don't ask about the past. Rule 2. Don't expect a future. Rule 3. Never fall in love. She repeats them back. He nods. They seal the agreement in silence, and before she can change her mind, Miles is gone. But later that night, he knocks again. No words. No questions. Just heat. They kiss, and it's not gentle. It's sharp, fast, consuming. He pulls her in like he's starving. They end up on the floor, breathing hard, skin to skin, no promises. No goodnight. When it's over, he leaves without a sound, and Tate, she's left lying on the cold tile, staring at the ceiling, trying to pretend it didn't mean anything, even though it already does. Flashback 6 years Rachel and Miles. They're still keeping it a secret, still hiding kisses in dark corners and whispered moments. Their parents are spending more time together. Everyone thinks they're one big happy family, but Rachel and Miles, they're a storm behind closed doors. He sneaks into her room. They talk, laugh, touch. They're falling hard, fast, and dangerously deep. They know it's wrong, but the more they try to stop, the less they want to. One night they sit in her room, knees touching. Miles takes a breath. I love you, Rachel. She stares at him, wide-eyed, then whispers it back. I love you too. And it's the first time he says it to anyone, the first time he feels it fully. He doesn't know it yet, but it'll also be the last time he ever says those words. Present back to her ROM, they fall into a rhythm. Miles shows up, Tate lets him in. They sleep together, then he leaves. No cuddling, no talking, just desire. Tate keeps telling herself, she's fine. She agreed to the rules. She knows what this is, but every time he walks away it hurts. Every time he says nothing, it stings. One night she blurts it out. Why do you do this? Why keep coming here if you don't want more? Miles looks at her. Not cruelly, not coldly, just honestly, because I don't want to love you. And I know I would if I let myself. Then he turns and leaves. Flashbacks, stolen tea. Rachel's mom and Miles's dad are out. Rachel and Miles are home alone. They're watching a movie, until they're not. They kiss, they fall into bed. It's the first time. It's soft, nervous, but real. Afterward, Miles wraps himself around her. I don't want to be anywhere else. Rachel smiles, sleepy in his arms. Then don't be. In that moment, the world is small. Just a boy, a girl, and a bedroom that feels like a forever kind of place. They don't know what's coming. They don't know how fast. It'll all fall apart. They only know this. Right now, they belong to each other. Present in BETWIN. Time passes. Tate and Miles keep dancing the same dangerous dance. She tries to distract herself. Work, school, shifts at the hospital, but he's always there. In the hallway, on the elevator, in her dreams. And every time he touches her, it gets harder to pretend she doesn't feel something. One night, after another round of silence and sex, she whispers, "I think I hate you." Miles just looks at her. "I know," he says. And then, he leaves again. Flashback 6 years EARLIRHL, and Miles are more in love than ever, but their parents are too. That means shared dinners, overlapping schedules, and no room for secrets, so they sneak around carefully, constantly. One day, Rachel shows up at school, eyes wide, hands trembling. She grabs Miles by the arm. "I'm pregnant." His whole world tilts. She's shaking, scared, still 17, but Miles, he's stunned, and then steady. "We'll figure it out." He doesn't yell, doesn't run. He loves her, and that means facing this together. They don't tell their parents, not yet, but that night, Miles lies awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the future. He knows one thing for sure. He wants to be a father. He wants a life with Rachel, no matter how it looks from the outside. Present fading. Into HIM. Tate lies in bed, staring at the ceiling too, but she's not thinking about a future. She's thinking about the pieces of herself she keeps giving away. Every time Miles touches her, she loses a little more, and every time he walks away, he takes a little more. She tells herself she's fine, but the truth is louder now. She's falling in love with someone who refuses to catch her. They meet again. Of course they do. Miles never texts, never calls, but he always shows up. This time, he lingers after. Just a moment longer than usual. Tate dares to ask a question. "What happened to you, Miles?" He goes still. "You agreed not to ask about my past." His tone is soft, but final, and just like that, the wall slams back down. Tate nods, but something inside her begins to crack. Flashback. The first kick. Rachel lies on the couch, her hand on her belly. Miles presses his ear to her stomach. They laugh, they cry, they feel the baby move for the first time. He kicks, and it's magic. They haven't told anyone, not yet, but in these private moments, it feels like the world belongs only to them. They talk about names. Miles votes for Sam if it's a boy. Rachel agrees. Sam Archer. It feels right. It feels like a future. They finally tell their parents. It doesn't go well. There's yelling, accusations, shock. But in the end, they agree on one thing. Miles will move out. Rachel too. They're keeping the baby. They'll do it their way. They're in love. They're ready. Or so they think. Present. The tension grows. Miles is colder now. Not cruel. Just empty. He never kisses her on the mouth. Never touches her. Gently, when it's over, Tate starts noticing all the things he doesn't do. The things lovers do without thinking. And then one day, he brings someone else home. A woman. Pretty loud laugh. Obvious intentions. Tate sees them from her window. Watches the woman kiss his cheek. Watches Miles let her in. She doesn't cry. Not right away. Instead, she closes her door and whispers, "I can't do this anymore." Flashback. The night everything. Miles and Rachel are living in their own place now. It's small, humble, but it's theirs. Rachel's due any day now. Miles has a shift at the airport, but he doesn't want to leave her. She smiles and shoves him out the door. "Go, we need the money." He kisses her forehead. Leaves. Then his phone rings. Rachel's in labor. He speeds home, heart pounding, eyes blurring. She's already in the ambulance. He rides with her, holds her hand, tells her everything will be okay. He believes it, because love is supposed to fix everything, right? The baby is born. Samuel Miles Archer, 7 pounds. Perfect. Rachel holds him, tears streaming down her face. Miles sits beside her, silent still, completely in awe. This is it. The moment. The one he'll remember forever. The way Rachel looks at their son like he's made of light. The way that tiny hand wraps around his pinky. The way his heart expands so full and fast it almost hurts. He's never felt anything like this. Love, in its purest form, undeniable, infinite, real. He kisses Rachel's forehead. "You're amazing," he whispers. She smiles, exhausted but glowing. They stay like that for hours, wrapped in blankets and baby breath. They're young, too young, some would say, but they're ready. They're a family now. The next afternoon, they're cleared to leave. Miles helps Rachel into the passenger seat, buckles the baby into his car seat, checks the straps 3 times. Rachel watches him and laughs softly. "You're gonna be a great dad." He grins, pride glowing in his eyes. "I already am." The sun is warm. The city feels quiet. Rachel hums gently to Sam as they drive, a soft, made-up lullaby only he will ever know. They're only a few blocks from home, a few minutes from starting their life. Then the light turns green. Miles inches forward, and that's when it happens. A truck barrels through a red light, the screech of tires, the slam of metal. Glass explodes. Time fractures, the world flips upside down, the car spins once, then twice, before it lands on its side. Smoke rises from the engine. Everything is still for a breath. Then screams. Rachel's scream. Miles blinks. Blood is running down the side of his face. His shoulder is dislocated. His leg is crushed between the pedals. He turns. Rachel is next to him, face streaked with tears. She's screaming, not in pain. In terror. Miles. The baby. The back seat. The car seat is upside down, twisted, crushed into the corner. Miles's heart stops. He reaches back, struggling against the metal frame, clawing toward his son. The seatbelt cuts into his skin. He doesn't feel it. All he knows is that Sam isn't crying. He's not moving. Rachel's hands are reaching too, shaking. She's begging, "Please, please no, please God." Miles gets close enough to see his son's face, and in that second, he knows. Sam is gone, his tiny body still, eyes closed. No breath, no sound, no heartbeat, nothing. Miles lets out a sound Rachel will remember for the rest of her life. Not a cry, not a scream, just devastation. The ambulance comes, the hospital, the reports, the bruises, the silence. Rachel doesn't speak for hours. She just stares at the wall, hands trembling, wrapped in a blanket that still smells like her son. Miles sits in a chair, staring at nothing. His body is broken, but it's the inside that's shattered. When the doctor says the words aloud, it feels like someone rips open his chest. Your son didn't survive the crash. Like he doesn't already know. Like he didn't feel it in his bones the second he saw him. Rachel doesn't look at Miles, not once. She turns her face away, won't let him hold her. And when the doctor leaves, she finally speaks. "It's your fault," just like that. Cold, distant, final. "You were driving." Miles opens his mouth, closes it again. There's nothing he can say, because she's right, because it doesn't matter. If the light was green. His son is gone. They go home. What's left of it. Rachel doesn't unpack, doesn't eat. She moves through the apartment like a ghost. One night she walks into the bedroom holding her keys in a bag. "I'm going to Phoenix." Miles sits up. "What?" She doesn't meet his eyes. "I'm moving in with my mom." "I can't. Stay here, Rachel. Don't call me." She's crying now, but not the way she did at the hospital. These tears are harder, colder. "I can't look at you without seeing him." "Please don't do this," Miles whispers. "I have to." She walks to the door, and just before she leaves, she turns back. "He was everything. So were you," Miles says, breaking. "Not anymore." And then, she's gone. Miles sits on the floor of their bedroom. The baby's things are still there. The crib, the bottles, the blankets with tiny elephants on them. He picks up a blanket, holds it to his chest. And for the first time since the crash, he cries. Hard. Unstoppable. Uncontrollable. He screams until his voice is raw, curses the light, the truck himself. He punches the floor, the wall. His hands bleed. Nothing helps. Nothing brings him back because he doesn't just lose a baby. That day he loses his future, his family, his entire reason to exist. And somewhere in the middle of that dark, brutal night, Miles makes a promise. He will never love again, because love gave him everything, and then it took it all away. Present after the GOODBY. Tate doesn't cry right away. After she hands Miles his key and says she's done, she closes her door, sinks to the floor, and just sits there. There's no one to blame, not really. She knew the rules, she followed them, she let him in without asking for more. And now, all that's left is the hollow echo of him, and a heart that wasn't supposed to break, but it did. Because she thought maybe, just maybe, he'd fall too. Tate stops answering his texts. She avoids him in the halls. Takes the stairs instead of the elevator. Changes her shifts. Stops watching his door from hers. Miles notices but says nothing. And the silence between them becomes louder than anything they ever said. Ian, Miles's best friend and fellow pilot, finds Tate on a break one afternoon. He sits beside her, quiet, watching her closely. "I don't know what's going on with you and Miles." Tate doesn't respond. "But I know him, and I know you didn't do anything wrong." He picks at a thread on his sleeve. Whatever happened to him, it messed him up. And he's been surviving ever since. not living. Tate swallows hard. Do you know what it was? Ian nods slowly. I know enough. Then he stands. Just. Don't let him waste the chance to live again. For the first time since the crash, since the silence, since Rachel walked out of his life, Miles talks. He doesn't go to Rachel. He goes to Rachel's father, Clayton. They sit in a park. Miles explains everything. From the first moment he saw her, to the hospital, to the funeral, to now. He admits the guilt, the hatred, the promise he made to himself. Never again. Clayton listens, then says quietly, "You're not to blame for that accident, Miles. Rachel was never angry at you, just broken." Miles blinks. "She told me it was my fault." Clayton shakes his head. "She told me she said that, and that it wasn't true." Miles exhales for what feels like the first time in years. Then comes the next question, the one he's been too afraid to ask. "How is she?" Clayton smiles. "She's good." Miles waits. "She got married last year." Miles nods. The pain is sharp, but different. "Now, Dot, it's not grief, it's release. She asked me to give you something if you ever came looking." Clayton hands him a folded piece of paper. Miles opens it. It's a letter, from Rachel. "I hated you that day. I needed someone to blame, and you were the only one there. But I never stopped loving you. Our son was made from something beautiful. Don't let his memory make you afraid of beautiful things again. Please, Miles, let yourself love someone," he cries. "But it's different now. It's softer, not guilt, not punishment, just grief. Letting go." Tate comes home too. Finds someone waiting in the hallway. It's Miles. He's standing in front of her apartment door, eyes tired, hands in his pockets. "I went to see Rachel." Tate swallows. "How is she?" "She's good. Happy, married." Tate nods. Miles steps closer. "She forgave me, Tate. But more than that, she gave me permission." Tate doesn't speak. She doesn't move because she doesn't want to hope. Again, if it isn't real, then Miles kneels in front of her, not with a ring, with his heart. "I want to love you, Tate. I want to try. No rules, no silence, no leaving." She kneels too, and the space between them, once filled with pain and grief, is filled now with something new, something whole, something healing. "Okay," she whispers, and just like that, they begin again. That 1 year later, the front door creaks open. Sunlight spills across the living room. Tate steps inside, setting her bags down. "I'm home." No response. Then, tiny footsteps, a small voice shouting, "Mommy." Tate laughs and lifts the little boy into her arms. Miles walks into the room, smiling, happy. Whole. They named him Sam, not to replace the one they lost, but to honor the one who taught them how to love.